Dear ministers, dear media representatives, thank you for joining. First of all, I would like to ask everyone to turn off their microphones, the ones who are not speaking currently, because otherwise we will be having some problems with sound. So thank you everyone for joining. Please allow me to start this press conference, and we shall start by the address of the Minister of the Economy and Innovation of Lithuania, Aušrinė Armonaitė.
Thank you, Agla. Dear colleagues, friends, media representatives from Lithuania, Taiwan, and elsewhere, thank you very much for taking your interest in this very important matter in economic cooperation between Lithuania and Taiwan. So just recently we had a discussion with my colleague, Minister Kung, about possibilities of deepening our economic cooperation between two countries. Of course, we have discussed very briefly situation of Lithuanian goods that are being stuck at Chinese seaports and customs. We, of course, appreciate the Taiwanese help redirecting them, and we also discussed some of the possibilities and further redirection of those goods. However, there are so many things we are going, and we are actually already working on in enhancing our economic cooperation. So I have some good news I am happy to share with you. Our colleagues from Taiwan informed that they will open 1 billion credit fund for joint Lithuanian and Taiwanese companies' projects. We will be working on further very concrete details and timing, and we will inform you in the nearest future. I have to emphasize that this will be in addition to already announced 200 million investment fund. It was announced last week. Now, we also agreed that in the nearest future, our teams of experts in the semiconductor industry will meet. Of course, Lithuanian companies, they do have very concrete business plans when it comes to chip production here in Lithuania, and having in mind that Taiwanese companies are the biggest semiconductor manufacturers in the world, I believe that this will be a great opportunity for our mutual cooperation, both great opportunity for Lithuanian companies and also, of course, Taiwanese businesses. Lithuania has a prominent laser industry, and some of our producers they face challenges currently regarding the situation at the Chinese customs. We have discussed it also briefly with the minister, and I've heard the message that Taiwanese companies, there are numerous of them, they are in need of laser products. So hopefully our laser companies will soon be able to find partners in Taiwan, and we will be, of course, very happy to facilitate these new partnerships. So thank you very much again for your time and interest. We have a short press conference, so I will stop here.
Thank you, Minister. Now we shall hear from the Minister of the National Development Council of Taiwan, Dr. Kung Ming-Hsin.
是非常高兴。事实上，我们在大约10月底的时候，有到立陶宛去访问。那我跟这个创新部的部长啊，有提到说，当时我们所洽谈的这些我们的承诺也好，或我们的共识也好，事实上，在 后续的这几段时间呢，我们就想办法把它一一落实。
So thank you very much. I want to mention that I actually visited Lithuania last year in October, and I mentioned to Minister Armonaitė that all the promises and consensus that we have reached, I will definitely try to deliver and follow up on these promises.
对，那这其中有6项的 MOU， 包括半导体的人才、半导体的发展规划，还有生技产业跟卫星产业、金融产业以及科学研究。那这几项呢，台湾方已经都准备好，而且要跟立陶宛方的一些相关专家组成共同的研究，那把它形成一个产业的发展的模式。
So Taiwan and Lithuania signed 6 MOUs regarding semiconductor talent, semiconductor development, biotechnology, satellites, finance, and scientific research. Taiwan is ready. We have made all the preparations. We will have our experts meet with Lithuanian experts to conduct further discussion so that we can increase our cooperation.
那另外，刚刚部长也特别提到，有关于立陶宛出口到中国受到一些阻碍的部分啊，那个部分我们也会共同想办法来解决。
Minister Armonaitė also mentioned the Lithuanian goods that were stuck at the Chinese customs. Taiwan will do our best to provide support in this aspect.
那另外就是说，我们思考，台湾跟立陶宛之间的合作啊，应该是永续性的合作，所以我们必须设计一些可长可久的机制，所以我们也特别成立了一个台湾投资立陶宛方，或者是扩及整个中东欧的一个基金，有2亿美元的额度。那另外也提供，不管是台湾方或立陶宛的企业来发展合作两边的一些产业的发展的话，那我们可以提供10亿美元的融资额度来进行协助跟合作。
So we believe that cooperation between Taiwan and Lithuania must be sustainable. And that is why we hope to design a long-term mechanisms for our cooperation. For example, we have set up a fund for investment in Lithuania or Central and Eastern Europe. And this fund has $200 million. And on top of that, we also have a credit loan fund for Taiwanese and Lithuanian corporations to cooperate together.
对，那当然，有人会问说，那这个投资的基金要投资什么项目？那融资的对象会是谁？那我们刚才特别提到的，台方跟立方基本上有6项的 MOE 在进行，那个都是我们投资跟融资的对象。甚至于上次在拜访立陶宛的时候呢，台湾的厂商跟立陶宛的厂商进行了240场次的 B2B 的会谈。那这些会谈基本上在后续已经有一些企业，他们已经谈出了一些合作的一些发展的项目出来了。那这些都是我们可以投资跟融资的对象。
This credit loan fund will be $1 billion. And of course, some people might ask, what kind of projects will be funded by this investment fund, or who can apply for these loans? I would like to answer that Taiwan and Lithuania has signed 6 MOUs, and the areas of these MOUs will all be the targets of these funds and loans. For example, when I visited Lithuania, Taiwanese businesses and Lithuanian businesses held 240 B2B meetings. And after these meetings, some of these businesses have already come up with projects that they want to cooperate on. So these funds will apply to these projects.
那我刚刚也跟部长特别提及，今年的元旦，台湾的总统蔡英文总统， 事实上在元旦的讲稿里面特别提到了要启动一项强化欧洲链接计划。那我们会从立陶宛开始。
So just now, during our discussion, I also mentioned to Minister Armonaitė that on January 1st, President Tsai Ing-wen of Taiwan mentioned that we would be setting up a cooperation program to strengthen the connection between Taiwan and Europe.
所以只要包括产业或贸易上的合作跟产业的链接，对双方都有利的部分，我们尽量来促成。如果刚刚提到的这个投资基金或者是融资基金，如果有不够的话，事实上我们还可以再加码，因为这个是对双方有利的。
So whether it's for industry or economy, as long as it's beneficial to both Lithuania and Taiwan, we will do our best to support it. So this investment fund and credit loan, I believe, will help us strengthen our cooperation.
所以台湾跟立陶宛双方有好多可以合作的项目。那现在台湾在立陶宛办事处已经成立了。那立陶宛来台湾的办事处，如果可以尽快成立的话，我想对双方的合作会更顺畅，范围也会更大。
So Taiwan and Lithuania has many areas that we can cooperate together in, and Taiwan has already set up a representative office in Lithuania. So we hope to see Lithuania also set up a representative office in Taiwan as well, which we believe will benefit both countries and advance our relations.
那刚刚部长也有特别提到，看能不能尽量在今年的春天开始运作。
So Minister Armonaitė also mentioned that we hope to see the representative office in Taiwan start operating this spring.
那我们表达非常欢迎，也非常期待，谢谢。
We welcome this development and we are looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. I once again ask somebody who is not speaking, could you turn off the sound? Thank you. Now we have time for a few questions. So please raise your hands virtually and state which minister you are addressing with your question. Okay, I see Andrius Sitas.
Hello, I'm Andrius Sitas from Reuters. I wanted to ask the Taiwanese minister, is the current previously announced 200 million fund for investment and the new fund for loans, are these funds conditional on Lithuania allowing Taiwan to have representation under Taiwanese name? And if Lithuania will decide to ask Taiwan to change the name, would these funds still stay in place?
Oh, 这个什么哈？主要这个投资基金跟融资基金就是要促进台湾跟立陶宛产业上的共同发展。所以只要台湾的厂商愿意到立陶宛去投资，那可以来申请。那或者是台湾的厂商跟立陶宛的厂商有 joint venture 有共同的合资，也可以来申请。或者是立陶宛的厂商，他跟台湾有合作关系，比如说他在台湾有设立他的供应链或采购关系。等等的一些情况也可以来申请，所以不管是投资基金也好，或融资基金，只要双方的企业做的事情、从事的事情是有助于双方的产业的发展，通通可以来申请。
So the investment fund and credit loan funds are available to any projects that can benefit the industrial development of Taiwan and Lithuania. For example, if Taiwanese businesses want to invest in Lithuania, or if Taiwanese and Lithuanian companies come together to form a joint venture company, or if Lithuanian businesses want to work together with Taiwanese companies, or they have suppliers here in Taiwan, they can all apply for this investment fund or credit loan. So the only condition is that these businesses must benefit the industrial development of Taiwan and Lithuania.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Minister. I see one more question from Žygimantas Abromaitis.
Hello, Žygimantas Abromaitis, Lithuanian national broadcaster. I want to ask a question for Minister Armonaitė. Are there any businesses who already announced their interest in gaining some advantages, building businesses from those 200 million that were announced last week?
Well, generally, of course, there are businesses that are very much interested in cooperation with Taiwanese companies. I just spoke very briefly about laser sector, but especially we are working hard on developing semiconductor industry and chip manufacturing here in Lithuania. Well, we want, Lithuania to participate in these very important value chains regarding chip manufacturing that will be, in huge, big demand in years to come. Now, coming to your question regarding this 200 million fund, still we will be working with Taiwanese colleagues regarding the very concrete conditions that businesses have to meet. And it's not only regarding this particular 200 million fund, but also 1 billion fund we just today announced as well, because of course we want these money to be, competitive, so to speak, so that businesses would, practically use them, that conditions for, getting these loans would be, accessible to Lithuanian companies. So there are lots of work to do, and I'm happy that now we are talking about very, very concrete, practical steps.
Can I quickly make a follow-up to that answer by Minister? A really brief. You've spoken about supply chains for semiconductors and microchips. How do you feel about Lithuanians' possibilities to fit that chain, and where specifically we could deliver our products? Do we speak about packaging? Do we speak about creating some sort of components that imply to the creating those microchips? Something like that.
Yes, so couple of points probably. There are Lithuanian companies that already have very particular, concrete business plans in developing semiconductors here in Lithuania. Of course, they may speak for themselves, but I will elaborate a couple of points. So, first of all, we already know that Lithuania is, capable to participate in producing 28/40 nanometers chips. I know that is a very specific information, but of course we do have to be very specific when speaking about this industry. And second, I believe that Lithuanian laser industry that is very prominent, substantial, and has, huge traditions here in this country, also could participate in value chains when it comes to chip manufacturing. I also, indicated this to our Taiwanese colleagues that Lithuanian lasers may be used in the in this value chain. So hopefully, lasers and also Lithuanian producers here in Lithuania, we are able to participate in the industry. And of course, know-how is also very important, and Taiwan kindly proposed their help when it comes to both academia and talents, training talents, Lithuanian talents. So I'm happy that this know-how also will be shared with our country.
Thank you, Minister. I think we have time for one more question. I see Šarūnas Dvareckas, LNK Television.
Yes, I had a question for Minister Armonaitė. How specifically, actually the question is similar to my colleagues, and how specifically does Lithuania intend to use 200 million investments? Is there any possibility of investing mostly in human resources?
Well, it's up to Lithuanian companies, of course, and I can't speak, on behalf of them. So I think there will be projects that, companies are going to develop. It's both. It's not only, of course, human resources. I think it could be also manufacturing. And I mean, our GDP, 20% of it, more actually than 20% of it comes from manufacturing, from industry. So I think our companies will be able, to use these money and investment wisely in order, to create more opportunities for Lithuanian economy to grow further.
Thank you, Minister. I think we don't have any more questions, or do we? Žygintas Abramaitis, I see still raising hand. But
Egle, maybe one more thing from my side, just coming back to the investment attraction from Taiwan. I just want to reiterate that the Ministry of Economy and Innovation is going to open a Lithuanian trade office in Taipei this spring. So hopefully our colleagues that will work in the trade office, will be very helpful in facilitating our further economic cooperation.
Just a quick follow-up. Are there any specific timetable? Not only you mentioned the spring, but there is a month, there is a day.
Yeah. So the legal framework is already in place since the 1st of January this year. We have a legal basis for Lithuania to open trade offices everywhere in the world, basically. So now we have to run the administrative procedures. As you know very well, there are some. So probably, hopefully early this spring, but we'll see when exactly we will be able, to open trade office in Taipei. And again, maybe I will, emphasize one important thing. We are working hard on for Lithuanian made goods and services to be sold all around the world. Not only Taiwan, that is a very friendly partner and a huge partner for us now, but also everywhere. And we will have more offices in Japan, one we will open, and also South Korea, and some other countries in Southeast Asia. So diversification is something we are working on right now.
Thank you, Minister. So I think we can already wrap up our press conference. Thank you, ministers. Thank you, everyone, for joining and for your questions. And till the next time.